So the internet is a funny place, isn't it? Because I think sometimes one of the most outrageous things you can do is to simply have a reasonable take. Um, let's go. Let's jump straight into the video. All right. We're going to mostly focus on this particular Twitter thread. Okay, so you're gonna need to look at the screen, I guess, in order to keep up. But I'll do my best to narrate as we go. But let's take a look at this. This is a clip. Okay. Now over here we have it from PostUp. It says Xbox or PS5 is obvious. Xbox provides more value. Love it or hate it. And we're going to listen to the clip, but I do have an issue directly with that assumption about value because value is subjective, right? We all recognize this. But in any case, these are the professionals from IGN on Next Gen Console Watch. Let's see what they say.
Get either a PS5 or an Xbox.
I would say Xbox just because of Game Pass. I think that's just really valuable. You get so many games, especially with Indiana Jones coming out, and I think you would just get way more for the value. So I would say Xbox.
Max, how about you? Which one would you recommend?
Oh, absolutely Xbox.
Okay, there we go. So obviously these are personal opinions. I do like the fact that in this clip at least, we were able to listen to the fact that the lady has her reasons. Her reason is that she believes that Game Pass offers tremendous value, at least to her or to the people that she imagines that she is speaking for, representing, serving, or anything like that. Okay, so let's see what my tweet said. My very reasonable tweet. I said, it's funny how these guys never ask themselves why the general audience hasn't gone to Xbox for its value. Or do they think they're just not aware? In reality, PlayStation has the better exclusives from first and third party, as well as a competitive subscription service. And that's all. That was the entire tweet. Tell me where there is there this outrageous lie that suddenly needs to be dissected by, the Xbox Defense Force. It's funny. You guys are hilarious. But let's address the issue up top. Value. What is value to you is not necessarily value to me. Ever since Game Pass came around and promised day and date, we have had this refrain of Game Pass is the best value in gaming. In fact, this is one of the greatest marketing exploits ever. It's great marketing, the best value in gaming. Because you know what was funny? Before Game Pass decided to do its day and date thing, what I thought was the best value in gaming, and what I arguably would still argue is the best value in gaming, is simply what was PlayStation Plus at the time and what is just PlayStation Plus Essential right now. Because unlike Game Pass and Extra and everything else and everything like that, PlayStation Plus Essential gives you at least 3 games every month that are simply locked to your account. They will never leave. They will never be part of a catalog that is rotating in and out. And by the time that you finish a single generation, you have a lot of games. So during the PlayStation 4 generation, let's say that you got PlayStation Plus Essential and you kept up with it because it was part of that generation. And let's say that you only cared about the 3 games, okay? That came. I know that at the time when it first came out on PlayStation 4, there were some PS3 games that were still being offered. But you know what? Let's just put those aside. Let's just say that you got 3 games per month during the entire generation, which lasted basically from 2013, I want to say, to 2020. So let's just give it 7 years. Okay, so if you do that and you do the multiplication, you find out that in 7 years there are 84 months. And if you multiply that by 3, you have 252 games that are tied to your account, that will never leave your account, and that will only ever be restricted if you do not keep up your subscription. So it's kind of like, yeah, that's a fair give and take. Now, this is the same thing that gives you access to the internet, of course, which is what most people have it for. But I always thought that the free games that were released there will present a tremendous value at the end of the day. And it allowed you to build a digital library that quite often rivals the entire gaming catalog from either PlayStation Plus Extra or even Game Pass. Now, if you've kept it going since, you've had 4 years now, almost to the day, right, of PlayStation 5, And again, you will do 4 times 12, which will be 48. And you multiply that by 3, which, since I cannot be bothered doing it manually, will be 144 games. So since the PlayStation 5 started, you received 144 games that are tied to your account. And this is the cheapest subscription service. Xbox Games with Gold was the equivalent of this, but they were famously laughably bad. I think people really sleep on Essential and how much those 3 games are going to make a huge difference once you add them up at the end of a generation. So I always thought that was the best value in gaming. But when Game Pass came on the scene, it took the moniker. It became the best value in gaming. And it was an easy moniker to take because for some reason the gaming media never really got behind PlayStation Plus like that. And they've never given PlayStation Plus Essential its due because Xbox doesn't have an equivalent to PlayStation Plus Essential, even though everybody says that you pay for online, but then they ignore the games that come with that subscription because it is included in the package. It is what it is. You could say they don't value that. Fair enough. And the second thing is that a big part of the Xbox defense for Game Pass is that somehow consumers are just not aware of how good a deal Game Pass is. And what I want to say to you is that it's been 7 years. Either, as I believe, consumers are aware and they just don't give a fuck, or you have failed as Microsoft, as a gaming body that apparently reps Game Pass, as a gaming media that will never shut up about Game Pass. You have simply failed to somehow get your point across, which means that you guys are losers because you've been talking about Game Pass for the last 7 years non-stop, continuously advertising it as the best value in gaming. Even though I have a video, me on this channel, I have a video that I will link to the end of this video, breaking down Game Pass and what PlayStation Plus offers. And it shows you that on almost every single step, PlayStation Plus is the better value, especially once you include extra. So the only thing that Game Pass has as a one-up over PlayStation Plus is the day and date promise. But even that isn't hitting the same nowadays because that is locked all the way to Ultimate for console gamers. I think that PC Game Pass has an amazing, tremendous value that is obviously tied to the PC, but that one rivals things like Ubisoft Plus or EA Play, and it's not included in the game in the PlayStation conversation because it's not on console and PlayStation Plus is not on PC. So it doesn't make sense to do that comparison there. If you're going to compare it against the services that are available on PC. It is what it is. So for the console gamer, I will strongly argue, as I have in that video, that PlayStation Plus is a tremendously better value. It has more games. It gives you games as part of your standard subscription to just play online. It has, more Game of the Year contenders, more genre-defining games, more generation-defining games, so on, so forth. Okay? But today isn't about my argument for which is better than the other. Today is purely about the responses because the responses to this are gold. So over here, we're just going to talk about this Twitter thread and we're just going to go through it. So the very first one, okay? Over here, it says, PlayStation Plus subscription is trash by comparison. Remember that my thing was simply that over here, I said PlayStation has the better exclusive versus third party, as well as a competitive subscription service. In this tweet, I didn't even say it was better. I didn't even say PlayStation Plus is better. I believe it's better. Obviously, I do, because it is. And most of the people in the world agree with me. But hey, you know what? It's fine. Okay? But look over here at what this guy says. Okay? So PlayStation subscription service is trash by comparison, which is why I suppose it has, double the subscriber count. And each subscriber count is actually monthly subscribers, not cumulative total. But hey, you know what? These people they don't care about little details like that, little truths like that. It says most of the casuals go to what is popular and PlayStation has been popular. Again, you see, the thing is, it's so dismissive, isn't it? Because it's basically saying like, hey, if you sat down and you made a decision, okay, you are dumb because at the end of the day, you just chose what's popular. it tries to diminish the actual person who is actually making a decision on like, okay, let me go. Do I go PlayStation? Do I go Xbox? Do I go Switch? Do I go PC? Do I go mobile? Okay? Or do I go VR? Whatever, right? A person that is like, okay, cool, I'm gonna make this decision. They're just like, oh yeah, you just went to PlayStation because it's popular. Well, why do you think it's popular with so many people? Because it has better exclusives. So obviously, but casuals are not playing PlayStation exclusives. They are playing Fortnite, COD, Roblox, Minecraft, 2K, Madden, Apex. Okay? Again, people play a lot of these games casually, and there's a debate whether you can call them casual gamers, because if a person is playing Fortnite for 2,000 hours a year, does that make him a casual gamer versus a person that plays, let's say, 20 different games but only for 700 hours a year? So whatever, okay, let's just put that aside. Basically, that's saying that they're playing the live service games, okay? And then he goes on to say, every week and every month, the same third party and now Xbox first party games are on the top 15 most played games. Occasionally, a PlayStation first party game breaks through temporarily, but now Xbox first party are permanently, in capitals, a part of the PlayStation top 15, like Call of Duty and Minecraft specifically. These games aren't ever going anywhere, and it's very possible that casual gamers take notice and slowly and incrementally just start making a move to the platform that provides more value. And I simply said, lol. Because there are so many fallacies in here. So the first thing is this, okay? You guys need to understand, and I made this argument later on. PlayStation is a storefront. The only way to access the Sony storefront for gamers is through a PlayStation. But as a marketplace providers, Sony first-party games are not in competition with third-party games. This is something that they themselves have literally said. They have a first-party catalog the same way that Costco has a home brand in Kirkland. Most of the inventory that is sold at Costco comes from third-party providers. But they have their own quite famous home brand products that are a draw card, that are a reason to go there on top of the deals and on top of everything else. Because you know what? Maybe you're just like me, addicted to the little brownies. Maybe you're just like, man, I could really use the brownies. Or, you know, listen, Costco doesn't make the greatest croissants in the world. Absolutely not. It's nowhere near the French, okay? But the butter croissants, they are adequate, okay? They are adequate croissants. They are better than what you get at our Coles and Woolworths over here. I mean, those make horrible things. Disgusting croissants. By comparison, Costco, the croissants, they're okay. They're all right. You know, they are serviceable. And you know what? Sometimes serviceable is good enough for the extra detour, for the trip down to Costco. Their home brands, you know, whether that is the food that they have or some of the other things that they put forward, okay, is just that tiny little extra incentive. But then when you walk into the shop, you see all of the electronics. Costco doesn't make the electronics. You see all of the liquor. Costco doesn't make the liquor. You see all of the clothes and everything that they sell. Costco doesn't make those. You see the vast quantity of foods that come from third-party providers. Costco has no business other than distributing those things. Again, first party for PlayStation and Xbox, that's what it's meant to do. It's not meant to compete. It's not meant to top the chart every single game, every single time. Stay there continuously for most of the year. No. Of course, PlayStation would like that. Of course they would. Why wouldn't they? Because if they had a product that was so compelling that every single day, every single client was on it and wanted it, obviously they would take that. That's what they're trying to do with the live service initiatives. But again, even then, those games that will be, let's say that they come up with Ghost of Tsushima Legends 2, and this thing is just straight fire, and it's up there with the Maddens and the Apexes. Let's just say that it was. Let's pretend that it could be. That game is not in competition with those games. Sony doesn't want to kill Fortnite with their own product. They want for the person that plays Fortnite to be like, oh, I can play Fortnite on PlayStation and I can play Ghost of Tsushima Legends 2. That's what they want. That's that extra thing. Just like when I go to Costco, I can go and buy, what do I usually get? I can go and buy, let's just even say the clothing, right? I can go and buy my Puma trackies or sweatpants or whatever, and I can get the croissants. That's all they are trying to do. It's the same thing with Costco fuel. For me, one of the best values for Costco isn't actually the warehouse itself, but it's the fuel price savings. Okay, so it's like if I'm in the area, I can go and get some fuel, and I can also hop over to the warehouse that is literally just a step away, and I can get my croissants, and I can get my brownies, and I can get my whatever it is that takes my fancy that day. And that is basically what they are trying to do. So when you say something like, okay, every single month the top 15 most played games are Xbox first party or whatever, it's like, bro, these could all be Xbox games. What does Sony care? At the end of the day, Sony has done nothing to make these games come to life. They don't do the server upkeep, they don't do the moderation, they don't do anything. It's just free money at the end of the day. And they get 30% from every microtransactions. They do not mind that these games thrive. Okay? Again, it's just that, like any other corporation, that hey, if those people can thrive, perhaps we can as well, and we will like more money. So it's funny because the reason that I laugh is that this guy doubles down and he sends me this list over here, and it's like, okay, the top 15 play games by total weekly active users. Like, do you really think that Sony cares that God of War is not going to be in the top 15 most played games after, let's say, 3 months have gone by? No, God of War comes, and it is just an item that comes on the scene. It is exclusive. It brings people into the ecosystem, and then after they are done with it, they go and they play these games. Exactly the ones that you have shown. But guess where they play them now? They play them on PlayStation. You have over here Helldivers 2. Guess where you're going to play it if you wanted to be on console? You play it on PlayStation. If you have a PC, you can play it as well. That's great. But if you have a console, you can play it on Switch. You can play it on Xbox. If you are a Helldivers 2 fan, and you're considering maybe moving from PC to a console because you're like, you know what? For my secondary gaming station, I will go with a console. And you're already a fan of Helldivers 2 on PC, you are more likely to be swayed by the PlayStation because now you'll still be able to keep your progress in Helldivers 2. And it's just like, there's this base level of understanding that you need of the facts before it's even worth rebutting you. Because if you're just too far from the destination, I'm not going to walk you there, So that's it. So in any case, that's why I wasn't even bothered. So over here, it says, this is exactly what it currently is. If people actually knew, Sony would be in a bit more trouble. Once the knowledge that Xbox provides a better offering as a whole package, that's when things change. Okay, but do they provide the whole offering as a better offering as a whole package? Let's consider the hardware first. They have two pieces of hardware. One of them is underpowered, the other one is underutilized. Again, you people think that people are just dumb, that they're just going to be like, oh, this one is cheaper than the other, and they're not going to do the research as to why. Like, are you serious? When you yourself and you go and you get into a brand new hobby and you are looking for purchases, don't you consider what it is that the different price points get you? When you take a look, these are gamers, and these gamers are so proud of their displays, whether those are TVs or whether those are monitors. Okay. Oh, by the way, just give me a second. There's something I need to do. Okay, I had to get rid of a bug. You know how Australia is. If you don't get them, they're gonna get you. Okay, where were we? Yeah. So the whole notion of people not being aware of what Xbox offers. Xbox, like I said, on a hardware front, it has a underpowered console, which is cheap. It has an underutilized console because it is dragged down by the underpowered one. And people do the research. That is how this exclusive strategy has time and again worked. When people go and buy a Switch, they don't just go buy a Switch because, oh, their friends have a Switch. They go and buy a Switch because they see the exclusives. Same thing with PlayStation. Same thing with Xbox. If a person is like, wow, I want to get into the Xbox because of Game Pass, then how do you think they realize that? Because they've done their research. Most people do their research, they realize that Game Pass is there, and most of them say, we don't want it. Some of them do want it. You probably are one that said, hey, you know what, I want a Game Pass. But before you realize that there was Game Pass, you had to find out about it. Everybody else goes through the same thing. You're not smarter than other people. You're not more aware than other people. This whole notion that, oh, It's been 7 years, bro. People are still talking about Game Pass like it came out 7 months ago. Like people are just on the cusp of discovering what Game Pass does, bro. They're not. They know. They know. They just don't care. Okay. Then over here it says over here, out of the subscriptions, I would say PlayStation Plus Essential is the best. You get to keep the games given to you, whereas Extra, Premium, and Game Pass, you lose the games. If you cancel, you lose the games, but Essential games are always on your account when subbed. See, this is one that I think is extremely intelligent. This is exactly what it is. I agree. I think that out of all of them, PlayStation Plus Essential is by far the best value because they are tied to your account forever. At least that's the promise, right? And they haven't gone against that promise ever since PlayStation Plus was first announced. That is the thing. Again, value is in the eye of the beholder. But just because I say that it is best, I wouldn't say to everyone that, oh, it's best for you automatically. I wouldn't necessarily say that PlayStation Plus has the best value in gaming because, again, that kind of statement just takes away any kind of individual's decision. It makes you look silly for choosing on the platform. Whoa, why wouldn't you want the best value? This is objectively, unequivocally the best value, except it isn't. Okay? And then this guy says, these guys are so triggered when it comes to PlayStation games. Hey, bro, listen, bro. Listen. This is exactly what they are. Ask yourself why it became popular. Over here it says PlayStation Store has way more games than the Xbox Store. That alone makes PlayStation Plus pull more players to the platforms. Your wall of text doesn't change that fact. Oh, I think we were still just replying to this post over here. Listen, Twitter's confusing. Okay, let's get out of here and let's continue. PlayStation subscriptions is inferior to Xbox Game Pass. And that's why I said, yet it has nearly double the subscriber count. Which is true. Like, how do you guys think that? First of all, again, these are monthly subscribers, whereas Game Pass has only ever given us the cumulative total. But even with just the monthly subscribers, PlayStation Plus has nearly doubled, at least 1.5 times what Game Pass has. But that's crazy that you guys don't realize to this day that that's not an accident. You know, that is a choice that consumers are making all over the place. Okay, OVA says, it's funny how you guys never ask yourself why PlayStation games don't sell that well. First or third party exclusives, if PlayStation has the better exclusives, or is it because you're not aware? In reality, third party multi-platform and Xbox games dominate PlayStation sales and charts every year. So making a very similar point to before, right? And I told him, PlayStation is a marketplace before it's a games publisher. Just like Costco mostly sells third-party inventory but uses its own home brand as an incentive, so does PlayStation use its first-party to attract clients. Be better. Okay? Now, OVA says, clients that have no intention of buying any first or third-party exclusives. I've got about 60 friends on PlayStation and about 1% of them ever play PlayStation exclusives. Personally, I've only got a PlayStation 5 for the exclusives, so I'm doing my part. I just wish there was more new first-party IP this gen. So again, this is a grievance that I think is just given by people that have no idea what they're talking about. This whole notion that exclusives only count if it is first-party, or, oh my god, there's been less first-party this gen, even though there's been more than any other gen previously, basically, except for maybe the PS3, because, you know, games were cheaper and faster to come up with that gen. But even the PS3, I think, started pretty damn slow. PlayStation 5 has been a great generation for exclusives. Okay, they has done really well out of the gate. That's just first party. When you combine the third party exclusives, you realize that Sony's strategy has been, whenever it is that they feel that there is a lack of exclusives from their own studios, they have bolstered it with third party exclusives. And that counts. You guys can try as you might to make it not count, but in the eyes of the customer, that counts. Most people don't know what is a first or a third party game. Most people just see a game and are like, where can I play it? And that answer quite often is PlayStation. And with Xbox sending over their games, guess what? That's just more for PlayStation. And you people want to be like, oh my god, Sony money hats. Oh my god, Sony this, they take games away from other players. Yes! And they give them to me. Are you kidding? Are you kidding? If you were in your city and your city had just invested in a state-of-the-art stadium, and then your city hosted the Olympics, Your city hosted the Commonwealth Games. Your city hosted like the Winter Olympics. Your city hosted all of these big sports and events like UFC and WWE and all of these big sports events. Would you complain that other cities did not get to host the events and didn't get the tax benefits or the tourist attractions? You'd be like, hell no. That stadium is 30 minutes down the road. I'm going to go there instead of having to travel halfway across the country in order to enjoy the entertainment that I want to enjoy. Obviously, here's the thing, people. No PlayStation gamer is upset at PlayStation for any exclusive, because I don't care if they took it away from you. I don't care about you. I don't care what you guys can do. I don't care what you guys play. What I care is most of the games that I want to play, I can play them right here in my preferred place. Because everything else, to me personally, is a downgrade. An Xbox is a downgrade. A PC is a downgrade. Mobile certainly is a downgrade. Let's not even talk about cloud streaming with that GeForce Now's nonsense that they're now giving you only 100 hours per month. Good luck with that quote-unquote future of gaming. You know, I don't care about Stadia. I don't care about any of the other failures. My preferred place to play is a PlayStation. So that is, quote unquote, in the metaphor, that's my city. That's where I reside. That's the closest to me. And again, for me, I want to get to the game in the closest, most transparent, most easiest, that's a tautology, easiest place, okay? Easiest way that I can get there. So again, I don't care about you. If you want to have like games exclusive, go get them. Go get them. Microsoft should work for you. Microsoft should have made those games exclusives, including Call of Duty, including Minecraft, including Diablo 4, including freaking Doom Eternal or the next one that is coming up, including all of the games from ZeniMax, from everybody. But guess what? They bent the knee. And that's on you. That's on you. That's not on me. I don't care. Like, let's say that there's a sporting event and it goes to your city first. Bravo. Well done. You get to celebrate. But if it comes to my city next week, I'm still not moving. Why would I move? Why would I come to your city? Huh? I don't know your bars. I don't know your restaurants. I don't know where's a good nightlife. I don't know what I'm going to do after the show. I don't know the public transport system. I don't even know if we are compatible in terms of having the same currencies. I don't know what your city is about, because to me, your city is an inferior product. I don't want to step foot in it. I don't want to go to Xbox. If everything is coming to PlayStation, I'll stay on PlayStation. Now, if Xbox had kept its exclusives, eventually they would have built up enough exclusives to incentivize even me to move. At least visit on a weekend. You know, come to your city and, you know, at least spend a Saturday there. A good old-fashioned day trip. But your city, it just spread herself open and it gave away all its goods to my city. So I'm going to stay where I am because I'm happy here. And it's not saying that you will be happy here. Stay in your trash city. Stay there. The garbage is piling up by the curb. You guys should really clean that up. Most of your buildings are on fire. You guys should worry about that. You don't have enough inhabitants to make a cohesive ecosystem. That's why everybody's leaving your city by the dozens. Every single week, you have another Xbox influencer, Xbox media personality, Xbox socialite or whatever, making the switch to PlayStation and telling you how much better it is, because it turns out that when they said the grass was greener on the other side, PlayStation was the other side. Okay, let's continue. It says over here, objectively. Oh, I love it when people say things like that. You know, such powerful words. By the way, I appreciate a person that starts a debate with a really strong statement. There's something about it. It's nice. Objectively, Xbox has more successful games this generation. It said, a couple of outliers on PlayStation, but more frequent success versus targets on Xbox. Okay, long term, the Xbox ecosystem is far more forward thinking than PlayStation's. Phones, he says, will be able to replace consoles soon. When I say which games were those, over here he sent me a list of games. So alright, so let's take a look at those Xbox titles. First of all, this is a whole thing, and I think it might appear small on the screen. So I will try to read just the disclaimers, okay? Now it says, first party studio output. Again, this here is already disingenuous because when we talk about PlayStation versus Xbox, we're not just talking about first party output. Third party exclusives count too. If you are, for example, right now, if you want to play Black Myth Wukong, which is not an exclusive, right? But it is at the moment exclusively found on the PlayStation for console. You care about that, you're going to consider that in your purchase decision. It doesn't matter if it's going to come to Xbox next. If you don't know when that is, but you're making the decision today and you want to play it today, that's going to count. The very first phrases, the very first thing out of this list already tells you it's about taking away some of the advantage that PlayStation has in order to try to make it more similar to Xbox. This would be like if you were comparing two cities and you were like, okay, so I'm going to compare two cities, but you know what? I'm not going to compare the restaurants or the nightlife. We're just not going to care about that. It's like, why? It's an advantage that the city has. Some people truly value the nightlife. Some people really, really do. You may not value the nightlife, but if you're saying objectively, I expect all of your fact sheets to be as objective as possible. But they can't be, because if you did that, you will convince yourself that PlayStation is a better place. But let's continue. PlayStation versus Xbox console releases. Now it says here, based on the date they arrive on the console platform, in the case of Xbox, as some released on PC or were timed exclusives on PlayStation, such as the case of Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo. So over here, what he's done is that he has taken Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo and he has added them to the Xbox fact sheet, but he didn't add them to the PlayStation part, even though the first released on PlayStation, because technically they were not first-party exclusives. Do you see the levels of machinations they have to go through? How they twist themselves in pretzels in order to award 1 point here, but not over there? Like, crazy work, okay? And then the thing is, they don't care as exclusives, okay? But let's continue. Please note that this list excludes the following: remasters or remakes. They also exclude PS PlayStation VR simply because this requires extra hardware to access. Yo, listen, this would be like if you go and you're comparing two cities, like let's say you're comparing Melbourne versus Sydney, and you exclude the public transit system because technically you have to buy a public transit pass in order to use that. It's like, are you kidding? It's still an advantage. If you like one system versus the other, it still counts. It doesn't matter if you have to buy a separate ticket to ride on a public transport system. It's still a thing that counts, and the city still has a public transport system. If you're comparing two cities, one had a public transport and one didn't, you wouldn't go like, yeah, the public system doesn't count because that's technically not free. It's like, no, it does count because I could use that instead of a car if I choose to. Like, are you crazy? But okay, over here, so they refused PlayStation VR, they refused DLC, and timed third-party exclusives. Yo, that's crazy. And it keeps going. Additionally, I did not include games released by studio or publishers prior to acquisition. Yo, that's crazy. Okay, even if they released since January 2020, with the exception of Returnal. Why are you making an exception for Returnal? Why are you trying? So, listen, you can already tell that this whole thing is just a crock of whole shit. Because if you have to put in that many stipulations for a person that started coming with objectively, yo, you know what? We don't even need to go through it. Okay. Now, over here, I said, LOL. The list of exclusions you added to make yourself feel better. Bravo. Go show this to every potential console gamer. Maybe you'll convince yourself more. And he just replies with, PlayStation is worthless. Because you have nothing to say. Because you know. It's just dumb. It's just dumb. This will be like if a person was a proponent of like sling shoulder bags, okay, like the crossbody bags, and then the other person was a proponent of backpacks, and then the sling guy was like, hey, you know what, sling bags are so much better and everything like that, you know, you can wear them over the shoulder, you can wear them crossbody, you can wear them like this, you can wear them like that. And then the guy was like, okay, but then in terms of backpacks, in terms of comfort, have his two straps, It just allows you to carry a heavier load. And then the first guy is like, you know what? You can't count the straps. And it's like, what do you mean you can't count the straps? No, you can't count them. You can talk about a backpack, but you can't count the straps. It's like, but this is a pretty integral part of what a backpack is. Nope, can't do it. Can't do it. And you're like, okay, well, my backpack has handles everywhere. You can't do that. You can't you can't count the extra handles. And it's like, okay, well, my backpack has a luggage pass-through. So if I go to the airport, I can use it. Nope, you can't do that either. Okay, my backpack has better hardware and more pockets around. Yeah, you know what? Half of those pockets are actually just on a separate divider that is an optional accessory. You can't count that as part of the system. It's like, but I have access to it if I want to. Yeah, nah, you can't have it. People are so dumb. Hey, you know what? Let's continue. It says over here, I agree with the first 2 points, but Game Pass really does blow away what PlayStation offers. It's okay to admit that. And I said, okay, if you say so. But more people have PlayStation Plus. You see, here's something that I learned, I think I think too late in my life. Something that I learned is that greatness doesn't need to be defended. I'm not arguing with you. If you think that Game Pass blows away what PlayStation offers, I don't care, boy. I think one of the things that annoys people about the way that I respond on Twitter is that they come looking for an argument. I'm not here to argue with you. I'm telling you things that are true. At least how I see them to be true. Now, if you want to make an argument about it, that's cool, but you're kind of alone in that. And you can see that for most of these people, their arguments aren't even starting from a basis of like good intentions or honest thoughts or, fair takes. They're starting with just being disingenuous and just lying outright, or basically pretending that they're superior and somehow they have found this better value, they have found this greatness on Xbox, and everybody else is just following the trends. We are just sheep because you like Apple and you like PlayStation products and blah blah blah, and you're that type of guy and you're that type of guy, and you're not really an intelligent customer like I am, so that's why you're not choosing Xbox. But at the end of the day, bro, nah. Okay? Then over here, we continue. If you say so, but more people have PlayStation Plus, and they go here, do they though? This is how you know a person is uninformed. Okay, PlayStation Plus, what tier? The tier that gives them the games that Game Pass does. I bet all day long, PlayStation Plus Extra and Premium combined, which are the Game Pass equivalent, have nowhere near as many subs as Game Pass does. Okay, so you see again how they try to separate it. That like, you know what, Emmanuel? It doesn't matter that PlayStation has nearly 50 million subscribers. If you cut out all of the ones on PlayStation Plus Essential, how many do they have then? But then I tell him that, hey, you know what? Game Pass has a tier that doesn't have access to the game the catalog. Again, they have a basic tier that is just internet access and doesn't even give you the free games that PlayStation Plus Essential does. Okay? And now he says, only Ultimate gets day one games now. Keep up. And then it says, okay, I bet you anything Ultimate offers has far more subscribers than the PlayStation Plus equivalent tiers. Like, bro, you have nothing to say. You have no argument. First of all, there's no argument to be had because you can't make one. You can't make one because you're starting from a basis of, like, if Microsoft at least gave us a real active subscriber count, not just the 25 to 32 million that people like throwing around. I don't even remember the last time that Xbox itself came out and said like this is the total, like this is the active subscribers, not just we added everyone who's ever tried Game Pass. I tried PC Game Pass. I'm one of those total subscribers that when they say something like, let's say 27 million subscribers, when they say that, they count people like me that use Game Pass once and then never use it again. That's it. I didn't even pay for it at the time. I don't think so. I think it was just a free trial, but they will count me in there forever because they're being disingenuous themselves. I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense. Microsoft is disingenuous with their statistics, and so it breeds a fan base that is disingenuous with their arguments. It is what it is. Then it says over here, the general audience, okay, is not aware of the benefits that Xbox provides. Marketing is not their strong suit, and I know personally as my fiance doesn't know anything about most of the stuff that Twitter thinks everyone knows. The PlayStation fanboys are the only ones still holding to brand loyalty. Okay, So again, this is kind of like, I guess, using your anecdotal evidence to project that onto everybody else. But even then, if your fiance supposedly cares about, the gaming conversation, but then doesn't care about Xbox, that is the fault of Xbox. Remember that Xbox is tied to a $1 trillion parent company. They are used to advertising their products. So if they haven't advertised enough and that's the issue, that's still on them. That's on no one else. That's not on the general public. Okay? Now over here, I tell him the general audience doesn't care for Xbox. They don't, bro. They know about it. I know about it. We just don't care because we find it to be inferior. Same as PC. Okay? And then over here we go. PC is much better than a company that funds $70 price tag and an ecosystem that is so anti-consumer. It's a wonder that PlayStation cult thinks like what you just posted. This is why the games industry is on its way to crash again, and for good reason. You know how I knew? I could feel it. I could feel that this isn't even an Xbox fan. This is a PC guy. Listen, Xbox fans, your ranks have been infiltrated, okay, by all of these PC guys that really don't care about your platform. What they care about is their own ends. And you know what? The selfishness of that is respectable. PC gamers don't give a fuck about Xbox, don't give a fuck about PlayStation. They certainly don't give a fuck about Nintendo. What they want is they want access. They want everything to go to their city first. They love it there. And that's perfectly fine. That's perfectly fine. But the thing is, they try to go about it as if they were fighting for Xbox. That's the thing that I don't like. Just say you're fighting for PC. Just say that you're a PC guy, you don't give a fuck about the consoles. And at the end of the day, the only reason that you appreciate Xbox better is that Xbox has again bent over for PC. That's really all that it is. And you want PlayStation to do the same. You want Nintendo to do the same. But at least say it proudly. Say it proudly. Don't pretend to be an Xbox fan. No one is an Xbox fan. Okay? Now over here it says, Xbox definitely has the better ecosystem and subscription service, and it's not even close. And you know what, Stretch? You're right. You're 100% right. What was I thinking? And I said, don't tell me, tell the general audience. Then he continues, you mean the general audience that plays more 2K, Madden, Fortnite, and COD more than anything else on that platform? I said, yeah. Go tell them how much better Xbox is. Like it says over here, they're blinded by microtransactions and they don't care about value. So again, you just said they don't care about value. So if you know that they don't care about this supposed value that can be found on Xbox, why are you making the argument? You people have no argument to be made. You twist yourself so much that you counter your own argument from the very beginning by the very end. It's so silly. Stop trying to convince people online to buy into an Xbox. We don't want it. No one wants an Xbox. You want an Xbox, but you don't count. There's not enough of you. You guys are like a baker's dozen. You're a dying breed. Okay? You are going extinct. The Xbox fan is going extinct. You're facing a mass extinction event. You're on some Death Stranding shit. You've got Amelie in your ranks, and she is the 6th extinction, and you're gonna get that reference as soon as you play through Death Stranding, which I really hope that you do. Go ahead and get that. Now over here it says here, more access to the same junk changes nothing. And this here is a point that brings us to the whole this is Xbox thing. Phil Spencer has got to be the most incompetent leader in any division that I personally follow. This guy really believes that out there is a well of people, is a whole untapped potential of people who have seen what console gaming has to offer, because let's face it, between PlayStation, Nintendo, and Xbox, there is enough advertisement out there for people to be aware that console-like video games exist. And that he thinks for some reason that their issue this entire time has been, oh, they don't have it on their favorite devices. Oh my god, how many times do you have to go through this, Phil? People that don't want to play God of War don't want to play God of War because they don't want to play God of War. Putting God of War on their phone or the tablet isn't going to convince them to play God of War. That's it. That's all. Same thing with Call of Duty. Same things with South of Midnight that is coming, which by the way, South of Midnight looks fantabulous. And I mean this. I mean this from the sincere. Like, I am so looking forward to South of Midnight. It looks amazing. It's got a black character as the lead. She is stunning. She is wonderful. Her story, the game preview that came out the other day. I mean, I was already sold on the game, but it just reinforced the fact that every time I see South of Midnight, I smell that PlayStation fragrance. It's just, oh man, South of Midnight is a game I cannot wait to play day one on my PlayStation 5 Pro. I mean, god damn, that game's gonna be so good. South of Midnight is gonna be so great. It's just gonna have that PlayStation quality to it. It just belongs on PlayStation. You know what it is? It belongs. I'm so thankful to Xbox for making South of Midnight. I mean, they went in and they were like, listen, how can we take any project that we have and just embellish it to the PlayStation standard? They breathe life into it. They just PlayStationified it. It's just, oh my god, it's gonna have the haptic feedback and adaptive triggers. Ooh, that thing's gonna hit different on the PlayStation 5 Pro. And the way it looks so stunning, the art, the gameplay, the 60 frames per second. It'll probably even achieve 120 frames on PlayStation 5 Pro. The lighting, the voice acting, the audio design, everything there has the hallmark of a great PlayStation exclusive game. Woo! South of Midnight deserves that PlayStation treatment. Hey, listen, PlayStation fans, forget about all of these bullshit games that they are porting over. What I want to see you guys show up for is that South of Midnight gameplay. Day and date. Play it on your PlayStation 5 or your PlayStation 5 Pro. Go ahead and enjoy it. It's going to be amazing. So anyways, PlayStation is the most uncreative studio out there right now. It's funny because PlayStation isn't a studio, but whatever. How many remasters and remakes that you already played and paid for do you all need? There is zero value as a PlayStation fan. Hey, listen, man, coolios. If you don't like PlayStation, that's cool. If you don't care for the remasters and remakes, that's great. Go ahead, live life, be happy. Let's continue. PlayStation Plus does not have a competitive sub at all. Then I said, that's why they have more subscribers. Let's see his reasons. More consoles sold equals that. You can't take away the fact that Game Pass has more value. Okay? And then I said, I have a video detailing it on YouTube. Visit my channel if you want to hear my arguments. Otherwise, fair enough. He says, I'll go check it out for sure. Ain't no reason to be like that at all. I don't know what reason. I mean, I don't think I was like anyone at all. I was just like, hey, it's fine. Listen, I will even, listen, the Red Viper, at the end of this video, I will put it there. I will put it there for you. Why PlayStation Plus is much better than Game Pass, as objectively as I can make it. Okay. PlayStation has a better exclusive from first and third party as well as a competitive subscription service than Nintendo. Listen, I don't know about Nintendo, man. Listen, Nintendo makes games for children. That's fine. That's cool. It is what it is. Okay. Over here, my Xbox is valid for my console under the TV as well as my gaming. Oh, my Xbox subscription is valid for my console under the TV as well as my gaming PC. That is awesome value. And I simply said, if you like it, I love it. Listen, man, Game Pass has its advantages. And Game Pass Ultimate, yeah, if you are across platforms, like if you are a bi-platformer, if you're bi-platform, yeah, if you're bi and you go, you swing from PC to console back and forth all of the time, and that's the way you like to do things, hey man, rock and roll, go have it. And Game Pass, I think Game Pass quite handily outdoors most subscription services on PC. I think that is just straight up true, right? At least in terms of the breadth of the offerings, and obviously the integration with console is nice if you get Game Pass Ultimate. I think that is true. I can't really think of a subscription service on PC that is readily better than what Game Pass has to offer, except for the PC Game Pass app, which I can tell you, even though I only used it a few times, those times were frustrating. So it is what it is. But hey, power to you. Then over here says, why? Don't forget Xbox also covers PC, and Sony are PC now. Why bother having any console? I get 4K 120 plus frames on everything. I have nearly 20 terabytes of storage. I still have both consoles, but I never use them anymore. What is this comment? What is this comment trying to say? Here's my thing. First of all, you get 4K 120 frames plus on everything? Really? Really? Is that with like adjusted settings? Is that like at low? Are you getting that on Cyberpunk with the path ray tracing and everything enabled without DLSS? Because let's face it, that's insurgent frames that shouldn't really count. Like, you know what? You're having fun on PC. I assume that this is a PC if you can fit 20 terabytes of storage, because I don't know any console that does this thing. But you know what? Have fun. But you said that you bought both consoles, but you don't use them anymore. Sell them. Get rid of them. If something doesn't serve you in your life, don't collect junk. Sell them. Get rid of it. Get rid of that PlayStation. Get rid of that Xbox. Get rid of like a Switch if you have one. If you want to, fully invest yourself in the thing that makes you happy, man. I want you all to be happy. That's all. It's cool. It's fine. So you know what? Good for you, mate. Okay. I have never understood the fascination with PlayStation. It's weird. I don't understand it either. And you know, the funny thing is that most people that are fascinated with PlayStation aren't even in PlayStation. I'm not fascinated by PlayStation. I just prefer it. It's just an option for gamers. I prefer playing on PlayStation. It doesn't mean that PlayStation is better or worse than any other option out there for gamers. There are plenty of people. There are, let's face it, objectively more people playing on the Apple iPhones ecosystem than they are playing on PlayStation. So again, there's no delusion about what PlayStation offers. I just like it. But the people that are fascinated with it, GT James, are the people that are strangely against it. And it's weird to be fascinated with something that you hate. I mean, come on, guys, let's move forward. Okay, what better exclusives? They're all going to PC. Sony is a third party. So what is exclusives? And I said, okay, Demon's Souls, Astrobot, so on and so forth. Like, we still get exclusives. Then you're going to say, oh, look, these exclusives are not there to stay and blah, blah, blah. That's cool. But while they are exclusive, they are exclusive. And the reason that they're exclusives, why they're exclusives, is to do what exclusives do, which is to attract people to the platform. They don't have to stay exclusive forever. If it was up to me, Xbox, PlayStation, Switch will never put their games anywhere but their own platforms and their own places. They wouldn't put them on PC. PC has its own exclusives. It's fine. Everybody can get along. Everybody can get, you know, the pieces of hardware to access the games that they want to get. None of these games are kept away from you. Exclusives doesn't mean somehow like excluding. It's not like it's trying to exclude you. It's just supposed to say like, hey, you want this Big Mac, you come to McDonald's. You want the Whopper, you go to Hungry Jack's. No one has ever gone to a fast food chain and be like, oh, how come you don't make your burgers available at your competitors' restaurants? No one does that, because this hate against exclusives is stupid and it's dumb, and it's just, come on, guys, come on. Do you guys ever go to like Apple and you're like, hey, you know, you could probably make a lot more money with like your exclusive piece of hardware if you let everyone else have access to the M1 chips or the M4 chips that are powering all of these iPads and everything like that. Of course they will make more money. Let's face it, this Apple silicon that they have just come out with is almost light years ahead of what Intel has had for the last 10 years, basically. Apple would make more money probably if they made that silicon available to other providers, but they don't, because they value what it is that they work for, their research and development, their devices, and their exclusive competitive edge. So it's simply that. Then over here it says value is dependent on want. 2 dozen eggs for $2 would be great value, unless you're allergic to eggs. To date, PlayStation has had more of what I want. Xbox has made strides to close the gap, but even if they do, why would I switch to have essentially the same experience? And this here is 100% true. It's exactly right. At the end of the day, another thing that Weed didn't mention over here is that Xbox is bringing those games over to your platform anyway. PlayStation has more of what you want. This could be more of the games. This could be more of the hardware. Like if a person actually wants an option for PlayStation VR or for VR, Xbox doesn't have that. PC does, but Xbox doesn't. If a person appreciates what a DualSense can do, that makes it unique from every other controller to date, Xbox doesn't have those features, PlayStation does. If a person appreciates the UI or some of the ways, that they interact with the product that are not necessarily tangible and found on a fact sheet, and those things are not the same on Xbox, again, why would you go to Xbox? One thing that I will never support an Xbox for is for having ads in the UI. When the full page ads came out this year and people were making noise about it, I think it was this year or last year, whatever. When full page ads appeared as soon as you started your Xbox, I was like, fuck that shit. Because I didn't buy, or I wouldn't supposedly buy a $500+ product for you to throw a full page ad in my face. We get advertised enough. If I go to your store, you can advertise to me until the cows come home. But when I first open my, or turn on my PlayStation or my Xbox, supposedly I will have to endure ads as well. I don't care how infrequent they are. I don't care if it takes only a single button click to get away from there. That is not okay with me. I was like, nope, I don't want that. So that's it. Let's continue. Then it says over here, definitely does not have a competitive subscription service, okay? PlayStation Plus is such a ripoff. Exclusive, kinda, yeah, but there's only like 5 and only 2 I don't want to play, okay? Still wasn't enough to get me to boot up the PS5 though. Fair enough. They're both so similar, but I find Xbox to be a better platform. You know what? I say you're right. It all revolves around you. If you think that it doesn't have a competitive subscription service, you're right. If you think that PlayStation Plus is a ripoff, you're right. If you think that it doesn't have enough exclusives, great. If you think the exclusives are so similar that you can't even be bothered playing them, you know what? That's what a real gamer does. A real gamer is excited to play games, but then doesn't do them, even though he has access to them. That's exactly what gamers do. You are 100% right. Okay, listen. We're gonna read a few more comments, then we're gonna shut this shit down. Okay. Then it says, for the actual value, you absolutely get more from Xbox than PlayStation, but overall, PlayStation 5 is a better console. Hey, if you say so. Xbox never recovered from terrible marketing of the Xbox One, and I think it's far worse this gen. I think the marketing of the Xbox One has always been, Phil Spencer has said the same thing, right? He has said that we lost the worst generation to lose and blah, 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 defeat his attitude. My issue is, was it really unrecoverable? Because I would argue not. In fact, I would argue that out of the gate, they would have had just as good a chance as PlayStation at making a huge headway if they had come correct. If they had come with the games. They released a console with no new games. So that's why I said that it's far more worse this gen. Like, it's just, that's what I think. Over here, that's not true at all, and you know it. That's the point. They never come from the Xbox One, and we say they were precautious now, and that's what we're saying, the big strategy shift. Listen, the failure of the Xbox One definitely plays a role, but I feel like it often overshadows just what a critical error it was to release the series consoles without any new first-party exclusives to excite the customer, while at the same time your competition was giving them a Horizon Forbidden West coming, was giving them a Demon's Souls at launch, was giving them a Miles Morales at launch, was giving them all of these games that were on the way and was exciting them, was generating that hype. COVID kept a lead on how explosive PlayStation could come out this gen from the outset. But at the end of the day, Microsoft did not even use the artificial barrier to show up their own house and be like, okay, so since we missed out on the initial rush of excitement for the start, let's bring you a killer Halo Infinite. Let's bring you a killer, list of games that will just go to continuously hit again and again and again in order to capitalize and to basically propel themselves past what PlayStation could offer. They didn't do that. And all of the time that they spent in acquisitions and everything, unfortunately, it seems that there was no one back at home making sure that those exclusive games were going to come. Okay, listen, that's pretty much it. Over here, last comment will do. You're not a gamer, you're an activist fanboy. A real gamer that loves video games knows for sure PlayStation offers the worst service, hardware, and catalog as of today. PlayStation is done. And when I say, what's your gamer tag? Poof, into the night. Yo, listen, guys. Hey, it's funny, isn't it? The internet will crucify you for saying something that is perfectly fine. I still don't believe that I said anything outrageous in that tweet. I still believe that essentially the tweet was simply saying that customers are not unaware of what Xbox offers. And I think that's true. People know. People want to pretend that they don't know, but people know what Xbox has to offer. They just don't care. They just don't want it. And that is the basis from which Xbox, their management and their fan base should understand things and say, okay, why don't they care? Why don't they see all of this value and jump at it like ravenous beasts? And I think it's just that at the end of the day, all of these values, all of these, like quote unquote value is too subjective. And when people then see you put your games on your competitor's platform, what do you think they will think the better value is? If a person wants to play South of Midnight and Wolverine on console, they will need an Xbox. If they're on Xbox, they will need their Xbox for South of Midnight, and they need a PlayStation for Wolverine. If they're on PlayStation, that's all. That's $500 saved right there. If a person cares about VR, that's an option. And again, like I said, people are like, oh, but it's expensive, but it's an option. If you want it, you can have it. If you want an upgraded experience on console, the PlayStation 5 Pro is an option. If you want access to a easily portable, relatively cheap way to access your games handheld, albeit with a lot of caveats, you have the Portal. Again, it's an option. PlayStation has done a better job this generation unlocking options for their customers. Xbox basically has two options as far as the console is concerned. You have the Series S, which is underpowered, or you have the Series X, which is underutilized. And when you then take a look at the fact that Xbox first-party games are running better on the base PS5 than on the Series X, you start to ask yourself, why is it that the options are simply better on PlayStation, even from Xbox first-party publishers? So listen, it is what it is. I hope this was enjoyable. I will link to my video explaining my arguments on this PlayStation Plus versus Game Pass conversation in case you want to have it. Otherwise, cool. Thank you for spending some time with me. It is what it is. I'll see you in the next Twitter thread to blow up for some reason. Like, I don't tag anyone, so I'm just like, you guys are all coming over here trying to come at me, try to convince me. I'm just like, boy, like, who brought you here? Like, if you don't agree with the tweet, you could just move on. But hey, you know what? I appreciate you for taking the time to talk to me. It's funny. It hopefully makes some people laugh at how ridiculous most of you are. So we'll see. It's funny because most of the people that are on PlayStation, that appreciate PlayStation, they just come by, they see a simple statement, they're like, yeah, give it a like, and then move forward. But people down on Xbox are just, hey, you know what? Half of those people are PC gamers infiltrating the conversation anyway. Listen, PC gamers, you're not a part of this conversation. You're not. Your platform is irrelevant. Nobody cares about PC gaming. Do people even care about the whole AMD versus Nvidia anymore? Does anyone care? Does anyone give a fuck? Like, we don't care about you. We don't care about your monitors. We don't care about your ultra wide settings. We don't care. Just play the game that you want and however you want it and leave us alone. Okay? Stop infiltrating the Xbox ranks and making them worse than they already were. Okay? We're trying to save our Xbox brethren here. Okay? Listen, to Xbox fans, Xbox is a sinking ship. Okay? It is a city built on sand. Okay? And it's sinking. Get out of there. Go out, sell your Xbox games, trade them in, get yourself on a PlayStation 5 Pro. Because if you're going to come to PlayStation anyway, you might as well get on the highest, best performing version. Get yourself a PlayStation 5 Pro. Get yourself PlayStation Plus if you appreciate having a subscription service. You know, if you just get Essential, you would at least get 3 free games a month. That's going to pile up. At the end of this generation, even if it lasts just 4 years, you have at least 120 some games that are still going to come to you, and you're going to enjoy them. And whatever, just go ahead, make the smart decision, get yourself that PlayStation Pro, and you will never look back. There's so many examples from Team Dog. I saw even another one the other day, who was just like, yeah, like, I'm no longer representing this particular thing. Let me see if I can find it for you, because it's like sometimes people think that you need to make things up in order to make a point, which is ridiculous, right? Because why would you? So let's go ahead and let's see if I can find it. I think I bookmarked it, but it was just like a passing bookmark. Who knows? Sometimes I just make bookmarks and it takes ages before I find them again. Blah 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 blah. You know what? I'm not finding it. I don't think I bookmarked it. These bookmarks are just salacious. They're just that terrible bookmarks. Yep, no, gone way too far. So it is what it is. But point is, there's lots of people who have made the leap over to PlayStation, and boy, they're not looking back. And there's a reason for that. At the end of the day, if you want to have a high-end console gaming experience, PlayStation is the place to play.